Welcome back, all sports ranters. All right, here are your hosts, Nico, Jake, and Ben. Following soon will be Drew. First time viewers, don't miss out. Hit those likes. Please chat with us live. And don't forget to subscribe to our growing YouTube channel at the Sports Ranter. We got a great one for you today. Like you said, we are the sports ranters, and we're not trying to compete, and we're not trying to spit on anybody's heads here, but we're having some frustrations with some other people that we listen to. So Jacob, welcome back. We missed you last week. We wanted a chance to talk about this, but please let us know what you're feeling right now under your skin.
All right, I want to rant a little bit, and this is the place to do it. So. We all get our information now. There's a lot of things out there. There's so many Instagram pages and things like that. But one of the podcasts that I've been listening to a long time, granted, I still listen to them, but they're starting to just every week more and more with their advice and their little takes on things. It's just starting to just piss me off. And that's the fantasy footballers. And I hope we hashtag them. I brought this up before on the show. Like, I will do everything in my power to just debunk and discredit everything they say because they flip-flop so much on players. And no, well, we actually said this about this player. We never said this. Oh, we actually said this. And then they've been wrong so many times on so many players, and people bank on them. And then they don't ever, like, yeah, we dropped the ball on this one. It's always like then they give you these unrealistic trades, which is what I'm going to talk about today. So, I thank God have picked up David Montgomery in the offseason in the draft. He's been great. This was not based on the fantasy footballers. If had I listened to them, it would have been all Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery is just an average running back and blah blah blah. But we saw what Jamal Williams did. We saw how Dan Campbell liked to use his running backs, and putting common sense together, in that system, there was room for a guy like David Montgomery, who's between the tackle guy, and Jamar Gibbs is more of a gadget, guy, smaller guy. So they decided to say that if you're the David Montgomery owner, when somebody came up and offered you Bijan Robinson for David Montgomery. Bijan Robinson for David Montgomery. And they said, oh, absolutely. Not only could you get, it'd be David Montgomery plus another piece for Bijan Robinson. Why would anybody do that? Bijan Robinson has what, like 2 touchdowns all year? Like, David Montgomery is killing it. He's behind one of the best O-lines in football. They're scoring 16 more points a game, and they have the nerve to go and tell everybody that you can not only get for Bijan Robinson, David Montgomery, the number 5 running back in fantasy football right now, who has missed a week, but another piece plus. Yeah, and yet all they tell you is fantasy football. You have to look at the stats. You have to look at the numbers. The stats and the numbers don't lie. Look at the stats and the numbers. I don't understand how you suggest that to your fans and how millions of people don't uproar and cut them off completely for bunk bonus information like that. Fantasy footballers, hold yourselves accountable. Quit giving stupid advice to people. There's too many people that listen to you. I'm not one of them anymore. I swear to God, I'm going to do everything in my power, everything on my platforms to debunk and discredit anything you have to say. End a rant. I hate you. I hate them. Hate them.
Just to add, I know Jake, and just to add to that, they were high on Darren Waller. They were high on everybody on the Steelers. So they've been very, very wrong. And yeah, you're right. They're not very accountable. So I agree with Jake. It sucks that you kind of use them to draft a little bit with them. And I tend to listen to Jake a little bit because I trust Jake's skills. And, I got some Steeler shares that I wish I didn't. And, and I got Jamar Gibbs on one of them. And I'm just like, it wasn't just them, but other people. I have in 5 leagues, so I stayed away from them. And then in one of them, I was like, well, if everybody's saying he's going to be like this stud, I guess I don't want to miss out. I did the same with Bijan. I got Bijan in 1 league. It's just the draft capital to draft unproven guys. And look, I've seen Bijan's highlights. Like, the guy's the real deal. But
Fantastic
my
guys.
my main concern was the Falcons offense. And so
Right.
far that concern is right. Like I get the talent, but like the offense is not that good. And if they're not in the red zone very often, then Bijan's not gonna have very many touchdowns. And so, and again, it's draft capital. I'm not saying the guy's a bad player, but you had to draft him in the first round. You had to
Right.
draft him sometimes 5, 6, 7, 8 overall. That's where it's
Well,
like, really? On the
and
Falcons?
Nick, and the reason, okay, and the reason why you have to draft him in the first round, it's why. It's because of the fantasy footballers, and it's because of the podcasts that are saying, "Oh, well, his draft capital is so much." It's because of this and that. I mean, ridiculous. It's crazy, and they're always, and it's not the case. Like, I mean, it's just
It's
not the case
yeah,
anymore.
with these rookie guys, it was a lot more hype, because what are they going off of? Yes, I get college talent, but dude, everybody getting drafted at out of college got stats. Zach Wilson had stats. Like everybody has
Reggie
stats.
Bush,
Yeah,
Reggie
Reggie
Bush.
Bush was on arguably one of the best college running backs ever. Like they're not really going off. It's just all hype. And yeah, you're right, Jake. Like you have to draft them in the first round because not only fantasy football, other people are like hyping them up. Everybody listens to the same podcast and same rankings, and you're just like, well, I guess I gotta draft them there. You
Right.
know, without your own intuition of I don't. It's gonna take them a little bit to one, conform to the NFL, but two, I don't trust Desmond Ritter. We've already seen offenses, who have really bad offenses that can't move the ball. I mean, the only one that kind of stands out in a bad offense is Brees Hall, but that, to be honest, if Brees Hall doesn't have the home runs, his stats are garbage too. It's kind of boom or bust. Like
Yeah.
he can't give you consistency because that offense sucks. The
Yeah.
reason why Brees Hall has the upside is because he's gonna pull off some 80-yard run, and that's where his talent comes into play. But if you're watching the games, you're just like, come on, break one, break one, break one, break one. You can't just rely on 20 touches, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like that's not happening yet. Like it's not gonna happen week to week. That's gonna happen with David Montgomery. I'll tell you that. You know, but it's not going to happen with the Jets. You're hoping he gets an 85-yard touchdown, or else you're sitting there, damn it. So, and it's the same with Bijan. You're like hoping he makes 4 guys miss and makes some spectacular play to get in the end zone. Otherwise, you're sitting there with 12 points, and you're like, dude, I drafted you in the first round, not for 12 points.
Yeah, and they're always constantly talking about volume and opportunity and all that stuff. But I mean, and this is why I kind of got turned off. And you're right, like the Steelers, for perfect example. I actually didn't take a lot of their advice on the Steelers. I think my Steeler hype did not come from them. It actually came from just watching them in the preseason. I thought that offensive line looked really, really good. And the offense just looked good. I mean, they looked a lot more mature than last year. And the fantasy footballers started talking about them a little bit later. I think after a few preseason games. But I was already like hyped up about him. I'm like Najee in the third. I think that's going to be a steal and stuff. I was wrong on that, dead wrong. But they were fucking wrong on it too. And it's like, then now what? Nothing. It's like nothing. It's just, we'll bail out or see what you can get to trade Najee. How about you give us some realistic trades? What would you give up for Najee? Nothing.
Well, look. Well, in their defense, okay, it is pretty dang hard to get this right every single year. We all have present our cases every year for the guys that we like, our man crushes, the guys that's going to go off, right? It's not just the people that we listen to. We have our own intuition. I thought D Hop was a gold mine this year. I had every, bullet packed to prove that, and now look at me, and so, but part of the reason why I was encouraged to start a podcast is knowing that I was surrounded by dudes that know what they're talking about, and that have their own say, their own input, and so I kind of was arrogant too. Like, I don't want to listen to other podcasts. I want to make my own podcast. So I want to say thank you guys for coming and joining me. Drew, part of the discussion that we want to talk about is Mr. Brock Purdy. Okay, is he Big Cock Brock, or is he just the new kid on the block still. Okay, and we all have our arguments here. And so we want to give you a chance to start it off and present your argument. You being the 49er fan, the San Francisco 49ers presented as number one on our and Papa's power rankings. Please present your case about Brock Purdy being the real deal.
Sure. Well, I mean, shoot, he hasn't lost a game since he's been in the league, other than the fact that he had his arm broken off. So, I mean, he hasn't lost. Let's just start with that. This season, he's leading the league in quarterback rating. Has yet to have an interception. Has 9 touchdowns. He reads the play so well. He knows exactly where he's going with it. It's one of those things where, for me, it's, as a Niner fan, with all the missed quarterbacks that we've had in the last couple of years, it's tough to, like, full-on crown him right away. But with what I've seen, dude, like, he's won playoff games. He's won big games. When it's a close game, he doesn't just make a bad read or an interception or this, that, and the other. Like, he drives down, he makes it a double-digit lead again. Like, he doesn't just crumble when it's close. So, I don't know. Like, we haven't really seen him down big and had to, like, lead a comeback. Sure, I get that. But any other situation, like, the dude came in and he's polished. You know what I mean? They throw the blitz at him. He can evade it. He's quick enough. He's mobile enough to get on loose and make a big play. And everybody keeps on saying that he doesn't have an arm. Dude's throwing down 40-yard completions at least once or twice a game to Brandon Ayuk. Like, he's throwing bombs. It's not like he's just pocket passing Jimmy Garoppolo style, 10 yards, 5 yards. No, he's launching balls. So
those aren't 20-yard passes where Ayuk runs for 20 yards after?
No, it's in stride.
I think he actually leads the league in air yards.
He's got 12. You got 1297 is his yardage, right?
Okay.
I mean, that was what it was. I wasn't. I don't have my computer in front of me to see everybody's stats, but I wasn't sure.
No, I don't know. I don't know his passing yards, but I mean, he's not a guy we're a run first team. We're not going to go out and he's not going to throw 400 yards. Like, and we're leading games almost every single game. Like, we're not just going to throw the ball for no reason. And we have the best running back behind you. Give him the ball. So I don't know. To say he's a quote unquote system quarterback, I think it's pretty ridiculous. I'll let somebody else take the floor, but he's definitely proven his worth in my eyes, especially for $900,000 is how much we're paying him.
Look, where I land on him is, I believe he is a real deal. As much as I hate to say that, because I don't want him to be, but he just, the system of Kyle Shanahan. One, it's super complicated, so everybody can't just go in there and just pick it up. We've seen C.J. Beathard, Trey Lance, Nick Mullins, who consistently couldn't do it. Nick Mullins came in for one game. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, everybody, Kyle Shanahan can make anybody a wizard. And then what happened with him? Tanked after that. C.J. Beathard, same thing. And even Garoppolo. Garoppolo did good, went to Super Bowl. I understand that. But he never led the league in passing. Never led the league in passer rating. Never led the league in air yards. Never not threw an interception. Never, and this is an established quarterback. So he's doing it at such a higher level. I know he's got dudes all over, but like at some point you have to just give credit for somebody being able to read a defense and make the right play. Like, that's not easy to do. We've seen that. Zach Wilson, even Josh Allen at games. Like, we've seen even the best of the best have a game where the defense confuses them, right? It doesn't matter how much talent they have around. That doesn't matter. He's not making bad decisions. That, to me, is one of the best traits you can have in a quarterback. Someone who can just read the defense and make the right decision. For the first 6 years of his career, Tom Brady, everybody thought, was a system quarterback. The Mike McDaniels, find your slot guys, dink and dunk. But what did Tom Brady do when he had Bill Belichick's defenses? Is he wouldn't make the bad play. He would just keep his team in it, and then eventually make a couple throws. And then eventually he became the greatest of all time. So I think we have enough sample size. I was waiting for this year. I was kind of waiting. And then the Cowboy game really put it over the top for me because everybody was like, well, what defenses has he played? This and that. Well, the Cowboys considered after 2 weeks was the best defense in the league. I know they kind of fallen off since then, but nobody thinks they're not a top 5 defense. They're definitely a top 5 defense, and he didn't even look bothered. And so I just think he's the real deal. Is he a top 5 guy yet or anything like that? No. What I mean by real deal is he's not gonna flake out. He's better than Garoppolo is what I'm trying to say. See, Garoppolo is a system quarterback, right? Everybody kind of knows that. He's on
Nick,
my team.
you're better than Garoppolo.
Yeah, I could go in there and throw 8 picks through 4 games. I could do that. That's easy to do. But what I'm saying is just to compare, right? Garoppolo was in that system for years, not just one. He was in that system for years, and you got the most out of him. But whatever it was, but it wasn't. It, nobody saw him and was like, "Oh, yeah, Garoppolo's a top 10 quarterback." Brock Purdy in 12 or 13 games has not lost, and he's creeping into that top 10 quarterback because his stats are so amazing. So that to me is not a system quarterback.
Jacob, what do you think? Do you have something other to say than Drew and Nico here?
I do. First off, I don't think we should be saying a system quarterback is a bad thing. He's in a complicated system. He's running it to perfection, and they're having a lot of success. Nobody's taken that away from him. I think the guy has been outstanding so far. But you guys want to compare him, like, say, like, he's like to like a Josh Allen. Okay, think about when the Bills lost to the Chiefs. I think it was 2 years ago in that playoff game, and Josh Allen had to go down in 30 seconds and field general his offense and down the field, rifling the ball 50, 60 yards over and over and over again. Brock Purdy isn't doing that. Brock Purdy is on an offense right now that throws the ball least amount of anybody in football. You can talk about passer rating and all this and that, and that's great. I'm not taking anything away from him. He has a defense behind him that, how many turnovers did they have from Dak? 3, 4? Like, I mean, the defense is the one that made Dallas look stupid. And I'm not saying that Brock Purdy isn't commanding a great offense, but like talking about a system quarterback, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and think that he can go to Buffalo or go to the Chiefs and do what Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes do, because it's not as much of a system there. Let's take the current quarterbacks out, like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. Those guys are field generals. These guys are field generals. So when you think about and I mean, I'll put Mahomes and even Allen in that, like these guys are making things happen when things break down. Have we really seen Brock Purdy do that? Like, have you really seen when things break down, when he needs to go win a game, have we seen him down by 3 scores, where it's like, we need to go air out the ball. This is going to be a 400-yard passing game where Brock Purdy needs to put this offense on his shoulders and get that ball downfield in 2 minutes to take the lead. Like, no, we haven't seen that. We've seen a guy that's got a fantastic defense on the other side of the ball. He's got a great running game behind him. He's got a superb offensive line in front of him. And he's got a coach that can call any play to get anybody open at any time of the game. That's it. And that's not taking anything away from Brock Purdy, because there's so many quarterbacks in the league right now that could not do what he's doing. There's so many that could not.
You are taking it away. You're
no.
Yeah,
because
you're downgrading him.
So many that could not do it. No.
You're downgrading him because
his team's great.
He hasn't done something like. So if he never comes back with 2 minutes left, he can't be a great quarterback. That's what you're trying to say.
I didn't say it. He's a great quarterback now. What I'm saying,
you haven't seen it though.
Oh, you're right. I haven't. So I'm not going to say
until you see it. You're not going to say he's a great quarterback.
No. I'm not going to say that he's more than a system quarterback. He is a system quarterback right now.
So if he just leads the league,
system around him,
he leads the league in passer rating and all the passing stats. Doesn't throw any picks for the next 2 years. you're gonna be like, well, no,
Okay.
I've never seen. He's
How
a
is he
system
not? Of course, he's not going to throw any picks. Has he been down one time this season? Has he had to throw the ball down? Hey, look, we're down by 2 scores. We need to get this touchdown before halftime. We got to go 80 yards in 50 seconds. Bam, bam. No, because the defense is so good. That team is so good. They're just stomping people. He doesn't have to do that stuff.
Okay, you know Derek Carr has more comebacks than Aaron Rodgers. You guys know that?
I didn't. I'm not surprised.
Okay,
because you have to be down before you get a comeback.
You're exactly. And Aaron Rodgers was always so good with the Packers, 13-3. He never had to come back. You can't knock the guy for not having to come back. You see what I mean? Now we have a bigger sample size, so you can. But what my point was, don't knock the guy just yet because he hasn't come back.
I'm not knocking it.
Like Andrew says, a lot of these games are blowouts towards the end of the game, but he responds, right? That Dallas game was not out of hand in the second quarter, right?
I was gonna say, Dak threw all 3 picks in the second half. Just so
it fell apart in the second half. Dallas scored, boom, Niners right back. I've seen where that's what Tom Brady would do, and that fucking pissed me off. Like I'm not saying he's Tom Brady, but what I'm saying is there's little traits you see in a guy that I'm just saying it just looks like this guy's gonna be long term. Now, do I want to see more of it? For sure. Is it a small sample size? For sure. But he's shown me enough to where I'm like, okay, this dude can be the real deal.
Well, here, let me put my take in this, okay, real quick, because now it's time to give a shout out to the office, okay, with John Lynch, the general manager, and Kyle Shanahan for the team that they're putting together. I think Fred Warner and the Joey Bosa combination is one of the nastiest in the league, and obviously, but we're not even having this conversation. And the Niners aren't 5-0 without that great trade for Christian McCaffrey, and I'm saying that as a former Panthers fan. Okay, the number what Christian McCaffrey did, the same situation for Cam Newton. Cam Newton statistically had his best statistical season ever to start before he got hurt, before he got whacked by the Steelers 50-0. He statistically had his best season ever, but it was all because of the volume of Christian McCaffrey. If Christian McCaffrey is not there, okay, you guys, it's like I said, we're not even having this conversation. And so, like I said, I want to give a shout out to where the credit's due. I give respect to Brock Purdy for being an NFL quarterback. I couldn't do it, but I do believe he's going to be challenged again in the same, like kind of like what Jacob is saying. He's going to be challenged in the right game. But
the thing that bothers me though is because he hasn't lost. Like I know I guarantee you, national media. Are the Niners going to go undefeated this year? Probably not, right? Probably not. They might. They look pretty damn good, but probably not. I guarantee you that first loss, you'll be like, see? Told you. Purdy's no good. Told you guys, like the first time he has any type of adversity, he can't come back. Like, I know it's coming, and it's just...
No, look, I disagree.
Josh Allen was not good until he got Stephon Diggs, right? I can do that with whoever you want, right? Like, Josh Allen was garbage his first 2 years.
His first year. His second year, then he got Stephon Diggs. He worked with Palmer, and he got hacked.
How good has the Bills' defense been the last 10 years? Are they not like top 10 every year?
Overall, they've been okay, but like the last
but I'm just saying he gets to play. That's what my argument with Tom Brady over Peyton Manning was all the time. But again, there comes a point to where a guy proves to you over and over and over again, and I get it. This is a smaller sample size. But the fact that you can also look at it this way. Playing with all those guys, you have more pressure on you to win. Right? Like, the pressure, hey, don't F it up. A lot of people can't handle that. Hey, don't F it up. You just get it to your guys. You'll win the game. That's a lot of
don't
pressure.
F it up. Don't F it up is easy when you're asking to throw the ball less than anybody else in the league. Hey, don't mess it up. But we're not going to ask you to throw the ball more than anybody else in the league. We're going to throw the ball least than anybody else, and you're going to hand the ball off to the best running back in the league. And then when that doesn't work, we're going to have the best defense in the league come and get the ball back. Like, he's not. He hasn't been asked to win any games, and that doesn't mean that he's not a great quarterback. What that means is I wouldn't put him on the level of some of these guys that have been, like Mahomes and like Allen. I'm going to say Allen because we've seen Allen. Heroes go out and do heroic things, and that also means that they take the risk and they fall. They win games and they lose games. Brock Purdy has not won some of the games that Josh Allen has won. He's won a bunch of games. I'm not taking it away. But if Brock Purdy was a quarterback, again, it's the Chiefs 2 years ago in the playoffs, and it was like, hey, dude, you got 30 seconds to go down the field, 80 yards, and score a touchdown. No fucking way. No way.
How can you say that though?
How can you say that he doesn't do it?
I'm not knocking him for not doing it.
I'm not either. But the thing is I'm saying until he's still a great quarterback, but until I still put more of the the reason for success on the system, not specifically Brock Purdy. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't mean that he's not a great quarterback. It means that the success of that the 49ers have had has been because of the system, not because Brock Purdy has been the only guy that could catapult them to where they're at now. It's not. He's not.
Excellent. Well,
you could pick 10, 15 quarterbacks in the league right now and put them in there, and they would have just as much, if not more, success.
Well, I'm sure we can go for on about this subject. I want to say thank you guys for bringing your energy on the Brock Purdy. We don't know yet if he's big cock Brock. Okay, well we're still gonna find that out. I guess he has to win Super Bowl for him to earn that title, just like Big Dick Nick. Okay, so, but if you guys are ready for some fantasy talk, Drew, with your waiver flavor, for the sake of time, you guys, I know we have to kind of cut this one short, but we want to stay on top of our fantasy football league. And for the viewers that are asking, thank you, Seth, and thank you, Diego, for watching and commenting. Drew, if you're prepared this week, let us know. We're in week 5 now, or finished week 5. It's getting kind of dry out there. But what do you got?
Well, I mean, waivers already passed, so it's kind of pointless to do it now. But I mean, obviously, we got so many people went down this week. You know, Justin Jefferson went down. James Conner went down. Goes on. But there's a bunch, right? So it's one of those things where hopefully you're able to get Jordan Addison, or you have him or whatever. But C.J. Osborne, somebody I guess you can look into. The Cardinals running back, I can't. DiMarcado, whatever his name is. A lot of people dumped a lot of fab into that guy. Obviously, James Conner's going to be out for at least 4 weeks minimum. So hopefully you're able to roster dump on that. Like I said, it's tough because obviously it already went through, right? I mean, so all the waivers already went through. So all my advice to give you is kind of like most of those guys got picked up. So, I mean, hopefully you got DiMarcado. Hopefully you got C.J. Osborne. You know, if those guys are somehow available, pick those guys up. Rashid
Jeff
Rice.
Wilson.
Yeah, Jeff Wilson, true. He's coming back. Aiden's gone for a week.
I've held on to him in so long in a few leagues. It's finally going to happen.
I'm starting him in my league. I have to have nobody else.
Yeah, dude. Is he going to even play?
That's what I'm saying.
He's projected 10 points. So let's
have they activated him, though?
No.
Oh, man, I hope.
He's not activated off the pup yet. So there's still, that's one of those things where
he's practicing though. He got right? Like I thought he got cleared to practice or something like that. I don't know what
they opened his window up. So either way,
that open window thing I heard or something like that.
The way that the pup works is that once they open up the window for you to get off the pup, you have 21 days to play football. If you don't play football, 21 days, you go back on the pup and you're not able to play for another 4 weeks. That doesn't guarantee that Jeff Wilson Jr. is going to play this week. Just, I know you guys are itching, but I don't know if he's going to for sure play. It could be a Raheem Mostert monster.
He's in my lineup regardless.
I have to ask this question real quick if we could try this. Thank you, Seth, for chiming in and always watching and always commenting, but he thought would be interesting if we could ask Drew if he could give us a list of people he'd rather have than the people that are on his team right now.
Are we talking?
I don't know
What are you
what.
gonna create an all-star
Yeah,
team?
yeah.
What is that?
Gotta be my league.
I don't know what league we're talking about, but I just kind of thought that was funny. For me, I definitely feel that. And Jake, in yours league, like I said, I went. Let's talk about this because right now you know what you have. You know when you're a fantasy owner and you drafted, and you're trying to find answers to try to salvage your team. It becomes hard right here and right now because right now you know what you have, especially if you drafted Josh Jacobs and Najee Harris and the wide receiver crew that I have. Oh my gosh, dude! I'm barely, it's obvious that I have that team where it just doesn't bounce in my favor. I keep
Who are
losing.
your receivers?
Calvin Ridley, D Hop, and Adam Thielen in the standard league.
Ugh.
I know I went Andrews early, number 3, thinking if he was just consistent with his numbers, I'd be okay. But it's just not salvaging, and so right now, and with the way things have gone with the running backs, my running backs are already bad. But when you go to the waiver wire, it's already all gone. People are already sitting the backups on their bench just in case things have happened, and so I really have to get just lucky in some sense where some guy, that's really the only thing that's in my favor at this point.
So Ben, to comment on that, so you have to kind of get lucky, and I would like if Elijah Mitchell's out there, like look at these better running back, and you just gotta like kind of like I know Andrew, but like
don't put that juju on, bro.
I know Andrew's not gonna like it, but like that's kind of like why I held on to Jeff Wilson, why I have Jalen Warren there, why like you gotta try to find these backups that most people aren't holding, and hope to get lucky. Like that's where the running back position is right now, because you ain't gonna find nothing on the waiver wire.
Well, see, I would say, sorry, Nick. I was as far as like our league with the standard league goes, you're like Nick's right. Like where, as far as where the running back landscape is, there's nobody out there. So the advice I would give like any of these guys is like every waiver wire, I think that of every league that I'm on, like Latavius Murray is there. Latavius Murray will get like 2 yards, but he has a great chance to fall in for a touchdown. That is literally like optimal results. So if you're going to like have to take a dart throw on anybody on waivers, pick the best offenses. And like Nick said, Elijah Mitchell is great. Just somebody that's on an offense that may fall in. Yeah. So that has the best chance,
or just bell cow. I'll put it to you this way, Ben. Like, dude, Zamir White, like Josh Jacobs' backup. Look, Josh Jacobs has taken 98% of the rushes. Okay, so and I get it. He hasn't been great, but actually the last 2 games have been fine for you. He's got touchdowns and stuff, Ben. So I don't know why you're complaining. But he's taking 98% of the snaps, right? So knock on wood, because I don't want to put that juju out there either, but if Jacobs goes down, then it's all Zahir White, maybe a little bit of Abdullah, but you got to kind of look at who's getting used the most too, and be like, okay, he's got all the shares. I'm gonna go get his backup, because nobody has Zahir White on their team probably either.
That was why everybody picked up Tajay Spears when Derrick Henry wasn't really doing anything, and he started losing carries, because it was like we've all seen Derrick Henry just get 100% of the carries. And he wasn't producing, and then you started seeing every week his Spears getting more and more and more. But I still think he's out there, in real leagues, 12-man leagues. I think he's out on a few waivers,
Until they made Henry a quarterback too, so.
Yeah, well, he's better than Tannehill.
Well,
Tannehill's not one of the 15 that I said would be, fill in for Purdy.
For those, go ahead, Drew.
With your team is a lot of players out there, they like the name, right? They know that the name's been consistent. They know that name has been valuable, and people are still going to want to trade based off of that name alone. So when you try and package, say, like Josh Jacobs and Mark Andrews for a decent running back that's performing right now, you have an opportunity to do so, because when people see that name, they still get hot and heavy, right? and they're like, damn, dude, like he might be
I'll
able to
give
bounce
you
back.
David Montgomery right now for those two guys.
Yeah, I mean, so it's one of those things where you're able to still trade some of those guys away. And in all honesty, there's guys on the waiver wire like Mark Andrews in the tight end landscape. Like you still have Jake Ferguson in a lot of leagues. These guys are getting 7 or 8 targets a game. Like you can take that gamble, go get Josh Jacobs and Mark Andrews, and go get yourself a stud running back, and then play the tight end streaming game every week. Like at the end of the day, if you don't have like even right now in this season, there is no guarantee that Travis Kelce or Mark Andrews or George Kittle are going to be number 1, 2, 3 every week. The only person that's going to probably be guaranteed from here on out is going to be T.J. Hawkinson because Justin Jefferson's going to be gone. T.J. Hawkinson's going to.
Drew, I know you have Kittle. Before this last week where he got 3 touchdowns, like because I have Kittle in my league, I think you have him in Nick's league. He was garbage, right?
Garbage.
What after this 1 week? Like, isn't he now like the tight end?
Probably 4.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, dude. Like, you can find a tight end anywhere, man. Somebody will buy Mark Andrews like that just on namesake, dude.
Exactly. There's no guarantee right now in the tight end landscape that any of these tight ends are legit. So if you can flip some of these guys and you can go cash in on a good running back, that's my best advice. Is take that name and flip it to your advantage. Like the tight end landscape is dog shit anyway. So it's like go trade that guy. He's not going to really do too much for you than anybody else is going to do right now. So it's like, yeah, go flip it. Go get Musgrave off the waiver wire. Go get Jake Ferguson off the waiver wire. Because at the end of the day, they're not separating themselves like they normally have been in years past. Take advantage of that name.
Before I flip it to the pick by Nick, okay, I used to thrive on being that guy. He drafted so well. My bench was so good that I could able to unload my bench on somebody who needed it. I never thought I'd be at the other end of the spectrum where I'm that guy that needs other people's bench players. This is, wow. Okay. But anyways, thank you guys for that advice. And I'll definitely be looking in to hit up before the trades deadline coming up very soon here in some of your leagues. Okay. So, but for the sake of time, we're going to turn the page. Please, Nick, what is the reveal for week 6?
Let's see.
Hey, what was last?
See my screen.
Oh no!
Hold on.
Don't let me get it.
Oh, that's probably trash.
There it is. So last week was the Dolphins. Okay, I had Dolphins -11 against the Giants. I knew the Giants were just a bad team. I knew they were gonna womp on them. I like those spreads. I'll name a couple out there too. Dolphins again. I hate going big spreads, but Dolphins will probably cover this week. They're playing the Panthers. Another big spread is Bills against those Giants again. I'll just bet everybody against the Giants. I just don't see them ever being competitive. I know it's football and the NFL, but hey, ride that train until the Giants decide to show up.
Not New York.
Yeah. So I'm at 60% now, which is good. I want to get up one more. So here's my reveal. It's probably the only week I'll be able to do it. So let's. Boom, Raiders -3 over the Patriots.
Oh
no!
The Raiders are at home, back-to-back home games. We're not traveling. The Patriots are arguably the worst team in the league. You can argue their offense is anemic. They don't know what they're doing, and surprisingly, and I know under the radar because we're the Raiders, but our defense has been solid all year. I'm not saying no top 10. We ain't San Francisco. We ain't the Cowboys. All I've been asking for the last 15 years was to give me a middle-of-the-pack defense who can make stops, and we're doing that this year. The only game we struggled with was Buffalo. Hey, guess what? Buffalo's pretty damn good. So if you throw that Buffalo game out, our defense has been solid. We shut the Chargers out in the second half. We did what we did to Green Bay. Denver, we held them to 16 points. Now, I know it's Denver, but if you look at their offensive stats, they actually haven't played bad. Russell Wilson actually has second in the league in touchdown passes. So they've been efficient on offense. We held them down too. So I trust our defense a lot more than I ever have trusted our defense. and it's actually our bright spot. And our offense is the one that's averaging 16 points a game, and I don't see that happening the entire year. The other thing that I don't see happening is we have like 11 turnovers on offense right now. That pace is just astronomical. I don't think Jimmy G is going to throw 47 picks on the year, so he's going to start being more efficient and start, being able to, I don't know why it's taking them a little longer to mesh with our receivers and stuff. Jacoby Myers just stepped right in. Other than that concussion, he's been great. So yeah, I just like the Raiders -3. We're at home, and basically they're giving us 3 points, so they're calling us the pick'em game, according to Vegas. I think we're more than a pick'em game, better than the Patriots. So
Nick, you got to tell me.
Yeah.
What did they do to Devontae Adams last week? Like, the one drive that they had where they went downfield, like they threw it to Adams. Adams is open. Bam, bam, bam. But then, like, what happened? Like, why did they forget it? Like, I'm asking because, like,
they didn't really throw to him all game. I don't know. I mean, they kept. I mean, I don't have the game film, so I kind of trust the announcers too, on what they're doing. Yeah, he obviously always sees double teams and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know.
It was like they picked that one drive where I think it was like towards the end.
Yeah, it was the last drive. Like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he made, like, even Jair Alexander, their best fucking corner, like, he made him look silly. Like, I can't believe they didn't force him the ball more.
Well, it's tough because look, and I texted my brother. My older brother is a Raider fan, and watching the Raider games, it's like, okay, that one game where he had like 17 targets, like, we're texting back and forth. I think it was actually the Charger game. Actually, I think, was it the Charger game or was it? Yeah. Anyways, but it's like, that's fine and all, but at the same time, like, are we gonna run an offense? Like, are we like the thing? Look, I get it. You like feed him, but even when we fed him and he's got 17, targets, 14 catches for 2+ and 2 touchdowns. We scored 17 points. Like, I don't care about, like, getting the best players our ball. Now, if we would have scored 35, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? But, like, what I don't understand is we draft Mayer in the second round. Our tight end has been non-existent now. Yeah, Waller's gone. What I don't know what we don't know how to use a tight end anymore. And what the hell happened to Hunter Renfrow?
No, you
guys sick. The guy is sick. He breaks ankles all the time, and we can't find Hunter. Like, I don't know. Offensively, this year, I don't really see an identity.
Well, here's the thing with Jimmy Garoppolo. He had guys who had yak, guys who get the ball and you break tackles and they go rip it off. The Raiders don't have that. They don't have those guys. Devontae Adams, he's a possession receiver. He's not going to go and break 3 tackles like Debo.
Yeah, so is Jacoby Myers, and so is Hunter Renfrow.
Like, those guys are possession guys. He depends on, like, dude, half of Jimmy Garoppolo's yards were off of fucking Debo and Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle making people miss and going to the house with it. Like,
Nick,
system quarterback.
Nick, we got we have a Charger fan, Diego, watching. He says it seems that when the Raiders win, it's like Pride Month. What's going on, man? What?
Who the?
Whoa!
Hey,
that's Diego from Verona. That dude's hilarious.
Tell him the Chargers have enough problems. He needs to focus on the Charger problems before he's over the Raider problems. They're about to get shellacked by the Cowboys. Watch.
Oh my gosh! Well, look, guys.
Cowboys are so mad right now. They're about to sack Herbert 14 times.
Well, with that, folks, we're going to have to say thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for asking your questions. We're going to be here live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Sorry this week it's Wednesday, but it's okay. We're going to keep it up every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Thank you, Nico. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Drew, for joining us. All right. Okay, so until next time, you guys, peace be the journey.
Later, boys.
Peace. Later.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say.